What if the biggest trick in the Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer is not that Marvel digitally removed the movie's biggest surprise, but that it may be selling a huge chunk of the film's opening recap as if it were the main story? Because the more I look at this trailer, the more convinced I am that the misdirection is not about who is missing, it is about when we are seeing all of this. That is a much smarter trick, and honestly, it would explain a lot. Ever since the trailer dropped, most of the conversation has followed the same familiar Marvel logic. Fans are scanning every frame for suspicious negative space, awkward compositions, and scenes that look like someone or something has been digitally erased. That theory makes total sense on the surface. Marvel has absolutely earned that suspicion. Spider-Man No Way Home turned trailer manipulation into a full-blown sport, and people still remember Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield being surgically kept out of marketing even when the movie itself revolved around them. So yes, looking at Brand New Day and assuming major material is being hidden is completely reasonable. I just think we may be looking in the wrong direction. Because I do not think the trailer's most important lie is about hidden characters, I think it is about hidden structure. The official setup already tells us that for years have passed since No Way Home, and Peter Parker is now living entirely alone after erasing himself from the lives and memories of the people he loved. That one detail matters more than almost anything else in the trailer. For years is a lot of narrative space. Enough space for grief, reinvention, new routines, small-time hero work, multiple street-level encounters, and a totally different version of Peter's daily life. If the movie wants to reintroduce us to that post-No Way Home existence quickly, the cleanest way to do it is not with long exposition scenes. It is with a montage, and I think the trailer may be hiding that in plain sight. That is why so many of the trailer's wildest images feel both specific and strangely disconnected. Boomerang, Tarantula, The Hand, Hulk, Punisher, Peter's altered powers, comic cover style hero shots. Emotional flashes with MJ and Ned, rapid glimpses of street crime and strange mutation. On first viewing, it looks like a movie trying to juggle a ridiculous number of threads at once. Maybe it is. But another possibility is much more elegant. A lot of these shots are not from the heart of the story at all. They are from a compressed opening sequence showing how Peter has been living, fighting, failing, and mutating in the years since the world forgot him. And if that is true, then the trailer is not hiding characters so much as inflating their importance that changes the whole read. Take the random villain gallery effect the trailer creates. Some of these appearances do not feel like fully developed set pieces, they feel like snapshots. Tiny bursts of comic book iconography rather than the bones of a full central plot. That does not make them fake, it just makes them possibly structural rather than narrative. Marvel may be using a flashy opening montage to sell the film as bigger, denser, and more scattered than it really is, while the actual core story remains almost entirely under wraps. That would be a very Marvel move, but it would also be a very good move. Because if Brand New Day is really the fresh start the title promises, then the movie needs to do two things early. It needs to bridge the emotional fallout of No Way Home, and it needs to establish the rhythms of Peter's new anonymous life before the real conflict arrives. A montage solves both problems. It can show him revisiting MJ and Ned from a distance, running into smaller villains, adapting to a city that no longer knows him, and maybe even confronting the first signs that his powers are changing in ways he does not understand. That is exactly the kind of material a trailer could raid aggressively while still keeping the true movie secret. And that is why I think the hand material may be another layer of misdirection. Not because it is fake, because it may not be final. The red-clad ninja imagery is one of the strangest pieces of the trailer, especially if you assume every shot is meant to reflect the movie's main plot. The hand can absolutely fit in a street-level Marvel movie, especially with Punisher in the mix, but their inclusion still feels slightly too direct. Almost too obvious. That is why the Mr. Negative theory is so interesting. Rumors around Martin Lee and the inner demons have been hanging around this movie for a while, and there are enough visual and thematic echoes here to make that speculation feel less random than it first sounds. Would Marvel really disguise the inner demons as the hand in marketing? Maybe, maybe not. That would be a pretty aggressive misdirect, but it is not impossible. And even if that exact theory turns out wrong, the broader point still holds. The trailer feels designed to make the visible plot look more chaotic than the actual story probably is. The more chaos you think you understand, the less likely you are to notice how much the real movie is still hiding. That is what makes the MJ and Ned material especially interesting too. Their scenes could absolutely belong to this same opening recap structure. No Way Home ended with Peter making the devastating decision to stay out of their lives, and a new movie cannot just ignore that emotional wound. But it also may not want to spend its full runtime relitigating it. A montage would let the film revisit that pain, acknowledge Peter's isolation, and then move forward into the new status quo without dragging the whole narrative backward. That is the cleanest storytelling option, and the trailer may already be using it as camouflage. If I am right, then Brand New Day is doing something much more interesting than people think. It is not just hiding big reveals, it is hiding the shape of the movie itself. It is taking what may be the first 10 minutes, Peter's reset life, his emotional leftovers, his low-level encounters, his new powers getting stranger, and presenting it as if it were the spine of the film. Meanwhile, the actual central conflict could still be almost completely missing from the trailer. That would be a great fake out. And honestly, it would explain why the footage feels both packed and weirdly elusive at the same time. So where do I land on this theory? I think the Spider-Man Brand New Day trailer is absolutely misleading us, but probably not in the way most fans assume. The missing character obsession may be real, but the bigger illusion is temporal. A lot of what we are seeing may belong to an opening montage or transitional recap sequence rather than the movie's true narrative engine. If that is right, then Marvel is not just hiding surprises. It is hiding structure. That is a much better secret to keep. And if Brand New Day really is saving its actual story for later marketing, then this trailer may be one of Marvel's smarter pieces of misdirection in years. That is what makes it exciting. Thanks for watching. Share your thoughts in the comments. This is where these kinds of films come to life. Until the next story, stay curious, be critical, keep your eyes on the screen, and remember, every film you haven't seen is a new film.